Yellow bass screaming, rubber burns on black. Engines roaring thunder, ain't no turning back. Beast make a friction, sparks light the night. Track of war zones, adrenaline takes flight. Metalheads moving, the trucks take the lead. Chasing that cloud through the chaos insane. Diesel hearts pumping, it's a high-speed game. Victory lap, gonna carve out the name. Rebels on my six, but my grit don't waver. Drafting with sharp, every move's got flavor. Brakes don't squeal, they scream in heat. On the asphalt battlefield, where the fierce compete. Rivals on my six, but my grit don't waver. Drafting with sharp, every move's got flavor. Brakes don't squeal, they scream in heat. On the asphalt battlefield, where the fierce compete. Tires grip tight, flames dance on steel. Spins and skids twist, every moment surreal. Checker flag whispers, a siren's call. Only one metalhead lies above it all. Turbocharged fury on straights we fly. Nitrous things pumping, we touch the sky. Back grandstands buzz, saying our name. Each lap we caught ignites the gay flame. Metalheads moving, the trucks take the lead. Chasing that cloud through the chaos insane. Diesel hearts pumping, it's a high-speed game. Victory lap, gonna carve out the name. Wah! Yellow bass screaming, rubber burns on black. Engines roaring thunder, ain't no turning back. Beast make a friction, sparks light the night. Track of war zones, adrenaline takes flight. Metalheads moving, the trucks take the lead. Chasing that cloud through the chaos insane. Diesel hearts pumping, it's a high-speed game. Victory lap, gonna carve out the name. Rebels on my six, but my grit don't waver. Drafting with sharp, every move's got flavor. Brakes don't squeal, they scream in heat. On the asphalt battlefield, where the fierce compete. Rivals on my six, but my grit don't waver. Drafting with sharp, every move's got flavor. Brakes don't squeal, they scream in heat. On the asphalt battlefield, where the fierce compete. Tires grip tight, flames dance on steel. Spins and skids twist, every moment surreal. Checker flag whispers, a siren's call. Only one metalhead lies above it all. Turbocharged fury on straights we fly. Nitrous things pumping, we touch the sky. Back grandstands buzz, saying our name. Each lap we caught ignites the gay flame. Metalheads moving, the trucks take the lead. Chasing that cloud through the chaos insane. Diesel hearts pumping, it's a high-speed game. Victory lap, gonna carve out the name. Wah!
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll here this evening from a track that I have never seen before. This is the first time I have loaded in here that I have seen this racetrack. This is, let me get this right, I do believe it is Mobility Resort Motegi? Motegi. Am I saying it right? Motegi? I'm hoping I'm getting it right. Motegi here this afternoon as the Metalheads Truck Series ready to go to battle, ready to duke it out here in this beautiful racetrack, man. This place it looks pretty dope. It looks really, really awesome. There's a lot of cool things here. Obviously, it's got the full oval racetrack around it here, the ring around it, and then it's got this really, really cool road course that it's a part of it as well. Looks really, really cool. And I know it's from Tokyo, Japan, so that's another really cool thing as well. And this is going to be a lot of fun for the Johnny Johnson Motorsports 101 here this evening. 101 laps of racing action here this evening from Motegi. And this is going to be a heck of a show and a great race again with the Metalheads Truck Series. As Medic in the chat says, race time! Race time is right. It is time to get it on like Donkey Kong. As Danielle in the chat as well says, hey, how are you, Danielle? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful, wonderful Monday. As we'll get ready to set them loose, we'll get ready to go to battle here in this one as drivers get lined up here on the run straightaway down pit side here. It is going to be the number 51 machine, the C4 Energy Ride of Tyler Stevenson with the quick time there in qualifying. He'll start in the pole position. To his outside will be the 5 of Matt Hayden. Starting in position number 3 is the 28 machine of Nathan Somerville. Somerville will start there in that 3rd spot. To his outside in the Ghost Energy CCR Esports QH Design 00. It is Nate Congdale who will start there in 4th. Starting in 5th is that 196 of Caleb Kleiner. To his outside, the die-hard Sears machine of Clinton Woodby will start there in 6th. And then we see, drivers like Ash Ellison Jr. in the 133. We see Skylar Berry there in the 46. Paul, the old man Durkee, back there in 7th with Colton Hardy, Jesse Calloway, Rusty Modesty. And then we finally see the inside lane moving forward here with Somerville and Caleb Kleiner. Then we see Nick Gardner. Here comes that 101 ride of Rooster Rodden. David Traylor there in 15th. And then we see Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr., Matthew Catania, Justin Lawson, and the number 12 of Michael Newman bringing up the rear of the field here this evening for what is going to be a very exciting 101 laps of racing action. As K-Dub says, didn't want to waste my money on this track because I'll probably never race it again, laugh out loud. Catch you tomorrow night, Aaron. Hey, K-Dub, I feel you right there, brother. Listen, I just bought this track literally 6 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago, something like that, just before we loaded in here. We had just bought this track as well, so hopefully we'll race here again. Hopefully I'll get a few more races here to make this purchase that much better. And yeah, definitely I don't want to have to not have this racetrack as well for a little bit. I don't want to have to just buy one track. I've done that so many times, one track or one certain car for one single race and then never experience it again. But here we are. We're here. We're ready to put on a show, and we're ready to see what these Metalhead Truck Series drivers can do here at Motegi here this evening. Is out in front, leading us down the back straightaway and into corner number 1. Nice and easy down and out of corner number 4, and out of 4, it is the 51 of Tyler Stevenson who will lead lap number 1 here this evening. So 1 lap into the history books. We now have 100 laps left to go. 100 laps to try to figure things out here at Motegi here this evening. As the 51 of Tyler Stevenson out in front, Matt Hayden rolls there in 2nd. Somerville falls in line in 3rd. Caleb Kleiner jumps up into that 4th position as Nate Congdale falls back into 5th. And quickly we see Skylar Berry already up 4 spots on the racetrack. Sort of back in depth. He is now up and into the 6th position. Rooster Rodden, David Traylor Jr. is moving forward as we do see Nick Garner blinking a little bit. He's going to fall back into that 9th position as Ashley Ellison Jr. rounding out our top 10 there in that beautiful Fleet Pride number 133 machine. Looks like he may make his move around that 27 to Nick Gardner as well, as you see Paul Durkee and Catania right there behind him. Now this is going to be a really interesting race because I don't know this racetrack, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, I had just bought this track before going live here, right at, probably, 15 minutes ago. I had purchased this racetrack, had to download it, got in here, and got the stream up and going. So these are really the first laps I've seen here, not only under that qualifying run, but also under, this feature event, seeing these drivers out on the racetrack battling door to door. For so far, it seems like the inside lane is the dominant lane to be. A look at Nick Gardner. He continues to fall farther and farther back here as the 27 truck now finds himself all the way back here in that 16th position. He's fallen back quite a bit. So hasn't Clinton Woodby. We do see Colton Hardy back there as well. He's lost 3 spots, but he's going to get around that 27 and Nick Gardner as well. And you got to wonder, what is tire wear going to look here? Are we going to see massive tire wear? Are we going to see drivers really fall off the pace here throughout this run? What is it going to look like out there on the racetrack? Or is tire wear not going to be a huge factor in this race? And maybe some drivers are just going to try to save a little tire here, wait for our stage break, get that caution flag, get an opportunity to maybe get fuel only, and then try to, pick up some positions that way and try to save an extra set of tires back there behind pit walls. You see that beautiful QH Designs Ghost Energy number 97 machine of Colton Hardy, looking awfully fresh out there on the racetrack as of right now. But out in front, leading this race, is the C4 Energy number 51 of Tyler Stevenson. Stevenson, our pole sitter, has looked strong here already this afternoon. He's looked really, really good in that 51 machine. But you gotta wonder, what will tire wear, what will things start to look like here after, 20, 30 laps of green flag racing. I think we're going to get a good look here throughout this run. I do believe we're going to get our stage break. Let me double check it here. Where is our stage break here this afternoon? Looks like at lap 25. So virtually that quarter mark of this race is when we will see that first yellow flag on the evening. And there is 2 sets of tires behind pit wall. So I think that's maybe some of the strategy that some of these drivers are trying to play early on here. Maybe giving up on stage points, maybe trying to save those tires to maybe save a set during this first pit stop of the day. Trying to make sure you have an extra set for maybe late in this race. Could be the winning move, as already seems like the tire fall off has backed a lot of these drivers down, probably about 2/10, 3/10 of a second out there on the speedway. So after 7 laps, man, having already, 2-3/10 of a second kind of knocked off your tires, that's only going to continue to progress and get worse and worse and worse. So by the time we hit, maybe lap 25, we could see these drivers, having about a second or so of tire fall off. We're late in this race. Having that extra set back there behind pit wall could be the winning move. And I think that's kind of some of the strategy that we're seeing out of drivers like Clinton Woodby, like Colton Hardy or Nick Gardner out there on the speedway, trying to roll the die here and maybe trying to get a little bit lucky here with how this tire fall off may roll out here this evening. But for right now, for myself, it is a huge question mark. I've never seen a race here. I've never broadcasted a race here, and these are the first laps I've seen at Motegi, so I'm not 100% sure how this is going to play out for all these drivers. But you do see the 5 ride of Matt Hayden starting to reel into Tyler Stevenson, starting to draw into that 51 ride and reeling him in a little bit here, and potentially trying to hunt down our race leader here after 9 laps of racing action out there on the racetrack and now down across the line. So the quickest lap time of this race so far has been by our pole sitter in that number 51, Tyler Stevenson. Ran a 37.09 second lap time. Last time around ran a 37.69 second lap. So that is 6/10 of a second slower than his quickest lap early on in this race. So that is quite a bit of tire fall off over 8-9 laps out there on the racetrack. So this could definitely play out to be somewhat of a tire strategy race. But see, that time by, it was a little quicker. He was back to a 37.52 and kind of opened up the lead a little bit more between himself and Matt Hayden. So it takes a lot of that tire wear away right there. Man, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun to see. But we do see one driver down pit side, Nick Gardner, make an unscheduled pit stop here on lap number 10. He makes his way down pit road. Oh, brother, this could be disastrous for the 27 truck, as it looks like he's gonna get tires onto that ride. Not sure if he's going to call it a day, if that's going to be the end of his race, or what the game plan is here for the 27, but nonetheless, he's down pit road. We'll see how long he stays down there because he's already lost a lap here to our race leaders, and that is a big hit out there on the racetrack. That is a huge backfire, and that could really set him back a ton in this feature event. But for Tyler Stevenson, he sits out in front, continues to lead the way. Matt Hayden rolls right there in second still. Caleb Kleinert has worked his way up and into third. Nathan Somerville falling back into fourth. Nate Cogdell there in fifth. Skylar Berry back in sixth with David Traylor there in seventh. Rooster Rodden, Ashley Ellison Jr. in eighth and ninth. They battle door to door for that eighth position. Looks like Ashley Ellison may be in line to steal that eighth spot as Rooster Rodden, unfortunately, kind of more of that outside lane. We'll have to wait and see if that can kind of roll, if he can stick with them. Looks like that he's going to get a pretty good run there down the back straightaway, and he is going to stay to the outside of that 133. So maybe it just takes a few laps here to kind of get that outside lane rolling. Maybe it's just going to use up maybe a little bit more tire, but nonetheless, Rooster able to hold off the charge from the 133, stays in 8th, but you do see that time that they lost there to the 54 of David Traylor Jr. They were right there on his back bumper. Now they're a few car lengths back there, just half of a lap around the racetrack. Is Ashley Ellison Jr., Matthew Catania round out our top 10 here on the Speedway. Catania has now picked up 5 positions, marching his way up towards the front as Paul Durkee. Clinton would be our top 12. Rusty Modesty's back in 13th with Jesse Calloway and Justin Lawson. Our top 15 out there on the Speedway. Colton Hardy sits in 16th with Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr., Michael Newman, and still down pit side is that 27 ride of Nick Gardner. So Gardner still down pit road. He is now about 4 laps down out on the racetrack, man, and that is it's tough, man. That's tough. It's going to be very, very hard, I think, here to gain, 4 lucky dogs, 4 laps back. So, unfortunately for Nick Gardner, he may be in a very difficult position here throughout this feature event. And that is a tough break for, him and obviously his teammates. That'll hurt team points, but it'll also, potentially take one of their trucks out of this race, out of this performance out there on the Speedway. And for the CCR Esports rides, losing one of your top drivers, one of your best cats out there on the racetrack is always a heavy hit, man, to not have them out there battling on the racetrack. But we do see obviously a lot of these other teams, a lot of these other drivers still trying to do everything they can to work their way up here to this number 51 of Tyler Stevenson, trying to steal that race lead from the CCR Esports stable. And Stevenson still holding down the top spot here after 16 laps of racing action here from I believe it's Tokyo, Japan, where Motegi is at. Let me Google this racetrack because I honestly don't know much of this racetrack. Motegi racetrack. I don't really know a whole lot about this track. Originally Twin Ring Motegi. Hopefully I'm getting that right. Is there a translator in chat here? Let's see if I can get this right. Is a motorsports venue located in Motegi, Tochigi Prefecture, Japan. Okay, so location's a little bit farther off than Tokyo, that is for certain, but very interesting racetrack, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very interesting racetrack. That is for certain. I've never really heard of this place until I saw it on the schedule here for this series. If they never put this on the racing schedule, I don't know if I would have ever heard of this racetrack in my life. But man, it is a sight to see, man. It is a big, wide racetrack. I feel like I'm assuming that probably F1, maybe not F1, but like Indy cars come here before in the past. I feel like it's had to have. Obviously, the racetrack, I do believe, is owned by Honda Corp. So Honda, running this, they're kind of a huge deal in IndyCar. So I'm assuming that they've came here and raced here. And I feel like this would be a really good racetrack, whether it's for the oval track or for the road course here at Motegi. I think it'd be really, really cool to see because obviously super wide. A lot of lanes, a lot of opportunities here, and for like those IndyCar F1 style races, have that extra room and everything else. Probably going, 3, 4, 5 wide out here at Motegi would be a possibility, but I don't know. I've never really seen a race here before, so I couldn't really tell you. But for Tyler Stevenson, man, he's obviously figured something out. Him and Matt Hayden are just rolling. Still really good lap times. They've just started to run into the 38-second lap time, so they have fallen off pace here over this 20-lap run. As down across the line, they will complete lap number 20. They've backed it down probably about 0.8 to almost a second in time here. So obviously tire fall off will be a little bit of an issue throughout this race, but it's not terrible for how big this racetrack is. Honestly, it's not too shabby, and we do see Nick Gardner has left finally pit lane, so Nick Gardner does rejoin this race. The 27 ride does find himself, though, about 6 laps down out there on the racetrack. 5-6 laps down now here this evening, and that is not a super fun spot out there on the racetrack. And he's already burnt up a set of tires there down pit side as well. As for Tyler Stevenson, though, he continues to lead the way, clicks off another lap, inching towards our first stage break of the evening, and some extra points and bonus points into his back pocket here on the season. And for Stevenson, that's a big thing, man, getting those bonus points and getting the extra points here as well to try to help you out throughout our regular season and the postseason is always a must. So Stevenson looking good here this evening. Matt Hayden sits right there behind him in position number 2, but they have opened up about a 2-second gap between themselves and our third place driver here, Caleb Kleiner. Kleiner, Somerville, and Cogdell all still kind of right tight together. 2 seconds, 3 seconds back of our race leaders. And then they got a couple seconds between themselves and David Traylor Jr. You see Skylar Berry, Matthew Catania is now up into 8th. Ashley Ellison Jr. is there in 9th. And Clinton Woodby rounding out our top 10 here on the Speedway. Rooster Rodden has unfortunately fallen down into 11th, as we do see another driver down pit side, the 97 of Colton Hardy now down pit road. So Hardy making a pit stop here early as well. This is another interesting call, as I do believe he is more than likely going to go a lap down, and there it is. He does lose a lap out on the racetrack. So see Tyler Stevenson, Matt Hayden able to get around him here. That is another driver. I don't know. Are we going to see more cats have to make a pit stop before the end of this stage? I'm not sure if we are. They've already completed 23 laps. We only got a lap and a half left here on stage number 1 here at Motegi. So for the 51 machine of Tyler Stevenson, it's going to be really, really interesting here. Obviously, it looks like he's staying out. He's not coming down pit road. Either is Matt Hayden. This is going to be the final lap here of our first stage of the day. And for Stevenson, he's opened up that lead more and more. Over the last 4 or 5 laps, man, he's really started to open it up between himself and that 5 ride of Matt Hayden, as Hayden now sits back about a second behind the 51. But after this stage, it's going to come down to some, obviously tough decisions on what you want to do down pit road. I feel like everyone's going to want tires, but you play it safe. Maybe try to keep an extra set of tires back behind pit wall. Save those for later in the race, or what may be the game plan here for a lot of these cats out there on the racetrack. As Tyler Stevenson down across the line, he will win stage number 1 here this evening in the Metalheads Truck Series, live from the beautiful Mobility Resort Motegi here this evening. Stevenson, Hayden, Caleb Kleinert, Nate Cogdell, and Nathan Somerville will round out our top 5. David Traylor Jr. will come home in 6th with Skylar Berry, Matthew Catania, Clinton Woodby, and Ashley Ellison Jr. rounding out the top 10 here this evening in our first stage of the day. And now, obviously, with that caution flag, everyone's going to be able to reel in our race leaders here. They'll be able to get another opportunity to go to battle this afternoon, but at the same point in time, they get an opportunity to come down pit road, make some changes to their race trucks, try to figure them out, try to figure out what they need to change to get a little faster, a little quicker, find that extra gear, and try to jump up into the battle for the race win here this evening. I feel if you're that 51 truck, you're not making too many changes. Even if you're Matt Hayden, you're sitting fairly pretty here, throughout that first run of the day. You got to be feeling fairly confident about your race truck and, the setup here this evening. Now, if your driver's back there behind them, you saw how far out they were able to get and kind of the strategy that they were playing there. Now you're kind of going to make that tough decision. If you're some of these drivers that fell back early on, like Clinton would be, even the 97 ride of Colton Hardy, who we did see go down pit road. He is a lap down, and he is the first driver a lap down, so he will get the free pass. The lucky dog back on the lead lap. Nick Gardner, though, unfortunately, looks like he has finally decided to take that truck off the racetrack, and it looks like he may be done for the day as he's taking it back down behind pit wall and out of this race. So a tough break there for Nick Gardner, and for Colton Hardy getting at least that lap back, getting back into the battle will be nice for the 97 machine. But we'll have to see, really how far these drivers can go for a tank of fuel. We're going to see probably more green flag laps here, and that is going to open up the opportunity after this pit stop to see some green flag pit stops where it may be one green flag stop. Oh, look out! Mistake down pit side. The 0-0 of Nate Cogdell goes around. I don't know if there was contact or if he just got onto the binders too quick. Let's take a look here at the 0-0. Nate Cogdell with a big mistake. That beautiful CCR Esports Ghost Energy. All right there. Contact between him and the 28 of Nathan Somerville. Take a look here. Somerville's going to end up getting into the back end of him. Let's see if we can get another angle at this one. All right, so you watch that red truck right behind Cogdell. Cogdell turns down to hit his pit stall. The 28 still going forward, not slowing down as of yet, and drives into the back end of the 0-0. That spins him sideways into his pit stall, and unfortunately that's going to lose a ton of positions for that 0-0. Also give damage not only to him, but that 28 ride. So that's going to set them back here in this feature event. Two drivers that were up inside the top 5 now running into issues, and you do see the 0-0 now scored back in about the 11th, about 15th position. Somerville, he's going back there as well. He'll be back in about the 16th spot on the racetrack. And they may be looking to come back down pit road, maybe trying to get some more repairs done here, as we do see David Trailer also make his way back down pit side. So he's looking to try to make sure he gets this thing absolutely topped up on fuel. And now for the 54, he's a masterclass when it comes to saving fuel, saving tires. And it looks like he's going to come back down pit road. I think he didn't take tires on that first pit stop. Looks like he's taking tires now, making sure that he kind of stays at least somewhat level with the rest of the field. And I think he probably thought a lot of drivers were going to be saving tires here and maybe not taking a set during this pit stop. So I believe, he kind of made that decision to not take tires. Everyone else did. Now he realizes that it's probably not going to work out into his favor. So comes back down pit road, gives up track position, puts fresh tires on, and he'll get ready to restart from the rear of the field as well. For Tyler Stevenson, he was first down pit side. He won the stage. He won the pole. And he's getting ready to see another big restart right here as his teammate Matthew Catania. Great pit stop down pit road. And for the 318, he leapfrogs quite a few drivers. Finds himself now getting ready to restart in position number 2. Skylar Berry there in third with Matt Hayden rounding out our top 4. Back in that 5th position is Paul the Old Man Durkee with the 20 of Justin Lawson right there to his outside. Rusty Modesty, Caleb Kleinert, Ashley Ellison Jr., and Rusty Modesty rounding out our, Clinton Woodby rounding out our top 10 here this evening. As here we go back to Green Flag Racing at Motegi as the 51 of Tyler Stevenson continues on. So far, what has been a perfect race for that C4 Energy CCR Esports number 51 machine. Now he's feeling a little bit more confident, a little bit more comfortable as he's got his one rail paper cuts CCR Esports teammate right there on his back bumper. That 318 to Matthew Catania up and into second. That's got to make Stevenson feel a little bit better knowing that he no longer has Matt Hayden right there forcing his hand, pushing him out there on the racetrack. They may be able to work together here at the front of the field as teammates get lined together. They tend to work pretty decently together, and obviously they can kind of, fight off this 5 ride maybe a little bit better and keep him back there at bay throughout this nature event, as we do see Skylar Berry falls back into 4th. Caleb Kleiner trying to work his way around Justin Lawson. Lawson's trying to continue to keep on battling in that outside lane, looking to just carry this high speed, high momentum down through corner 3 and back down into corner number 4. We'll see if he can jump up and stay door to door with that number 196, but it unfortunately does not get the run he was looking for, and he will fall back into 6 and may now lose position number 6 to Clinton Woodby. Woodby just, the inside lane just looks like it's so dominant here. Once you get down low, once you get that inside groove, you can drive it in so much deeper, roll that bottom of the corner, and it just works out so much better to be in that inside lane. And obviously, we saw that right there. The 196 got underneath the 46. Now you see the 92 as Skylar Berry does wash quite a ways up the racetrack down through 3 and 4. That's going to open up the door here for Modesty. For Lawson, a bunch of these drivers to try to work their way around that Ghost Energy number 46 ride as the QH Designs machine will now try to hold off the Sinclair Dyno Care number 6. A Modesty here this evening, but out in front, it's still this number 51, but oh man, we do see Hayden's gotten around Matthew Catania. Looks like Catania may have gotten up into the outside fence. He's going to lose a couple more spots as there goes Caleb Kleinert and the 92 of Clinton Woodby. For Tyler Stevenson, the first time here today, he's going to see a driver get in front of him, and it's the 5 ride of Matt Hayden here on lap number 33 will take the lead away from Tyler Stevenson. Stevenson will fall back into 2nd, and we got our first new race leader here this evening. Matt Hayden now at the point, and here comes Caleb Kleiner. Here comes the 92 ride of Clinton Woodby as well, right into the hunt here at the front. And you gotta wonder, potentially, for some of these drivers, is this by design? Do we see Stevenson and Matthew Catania potentially not take tires during that stop, and now they're starting to feel that tire wear pain and starting to fall back out there on the racetrack? Or potentially, are they just trying to play some of the strategy, take it easier here on the tires, back down the pace, let these guys go, and let this race kind of come back to them throughout this run, where the other guys in front of them may start to fall back, may start to run into that tire wear. These guys may be able to kind of flip that strategy and have it work into their favor late in this race, especially if they have to make 2 green flag pit stops here this evening. If they still have 2 sets of fresh tires back there behind pit wall, and everyone else has already used up 1 fresh set, that could really put them into the catbird seat late in this race to try to hunt these guys down and try to work their way right on around them, as Matt Hayden continues to hold on to the top spot here. You do see Caleb Kleinert rolling there in 2nd. Clinton Woodby's back in 3rd with Stevenson, Catania, Radio, our top 5, but you can see how far they've already fallen back here from that top 3 drivers. They're back now already, a 2.5 seconds behind Clinton Woodby for Stevenson, even farther back for Matthew Catania, and they're starting to see their other CCR Esports teammate here, Ashley Ellison Jr., jump up into the battle here. Ashley's wanting to put himself up inside the top 3. So isn't Jesse Calloway, David Traylor Jr., Rooster Rodden, and Skylar Berry, as they all look to try to work their way up towards the front. You do see Modesty unfortunately fall back here into about the 11th position. Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr., there's Justin Lawson now back in 13th. Paul Durkee is there in 14th. Nate Cogdell back into that 15th position after that pit road blemish. Nathan Somerville right back there as well, battling for that 16th, 17th spot with the 97 of Colton Hardy. We did see Hardy have to make that untimely pit stop before our stage break, and for the 97, got blessed with the lucky dog, the free pass back on the lead lap, and here he is once again rolling out there. He's up into the 16th position. He's gained a couple spots, but still deep in the field here this afternoon. We'll see if maybe he can figure out a little bit of ways to gain some track position, gains a few extra spots out there on the racetrack late in this race to try to work his way into a good finish here today. But right now, it's Matt Hayden out in front, who continues just keep putting together a pretty good race here, and he's trying to pull away now from Clinton Woodby and Caleb Kleinert, and he's opened up, you know, that 6-7 car lengths here and trying to pull and open that lead up even more here this afternoon. We'll have to wait and see if Clinton Woodby or Kleinert can reel into him, try to catch up to that number 5 rider, if they'll let him go and hope that maybe his tires fall off a little bit sooner, a little bit quicker than their tires, where they can try to take advantage of it later on. But as of right now, for the 5 ride, he's just trying to hit his marks, keep on running hard here, hoping that it stays clean and green, hoping that kind of things play out perfectly into his hand, as he's had such a good run and a strong race so far here this evening, with obviously, you know, Tyler Stevenson kind of falling back there and a ways away from the rest of the field here, away from the top 3. It could open up a big opportunity for them late in this race just to kind of pull away. As here we go, we see the 51 under fire, as here comes that number 4, Jesse Calloway. Calloway's up inside the top 5. He'll move the 4 into position number 4, and now here comes Ashley Ellison Jr. as well. The 54 rider David Trailers right there ready to pounce, as you do see Matthew Catania has fallen all the way back into the 9th position. These drivers definitely falling back. I almost want to go back and take a look at their pit stops and kind of see, you know, what their pit stops look like. Let's take a look here. See the 51 ride as he heads down into that first pit stall. You see the 0-0 run into his mistake. 51 ride hits his box. You see tires going on the 5. And it looks like Tyler Stevenson, no tires back there behind him. I'm not sure if Catania took tires or not. I'm going to say he probably didn't. I don't see that thing jacked up or anything else, so it looks like they took fuel only. And obviously now with the older tires, they're falling backwards here, but hoping that maybe have that extra set back behind pit wall will work into their favor. As of right now, they're just trying to hang on and stop the bleeding, trying to stay as close as possible to our front runners here this evening and hope that it works into their favor. But for Tyler Stevenson, he's now back into 7th. For Matthew Catania, he sits back in 9th. But you got to think, all the time that they're giving up here with these older tires, they may get back late in this race when they have newer tires, and the other drivers may be on older tires here, especially if, you know, these guys can only go a certain distance with fuel. I think if they can run 40 laps, then this is going to be a one-stop race. If they can stretch that fuel out and make it that far, even somewhere around lap 35 to lap 37, they might be able to stretch it and make it on only one pit stop here in this final run of the race. But if they can't make it quite that far and they got to make those 2 pit stops, it opens up the door here for Catania, for Tyler Stevenson, and any of the other drivers that did not take fresh tires down pit side, as we went back to green flag racing on lap number 29 here this evening. So seeing the green flag come back out, it was lap 29, but really it was more like lap 30. So lap 30 is when they kind of went back to battle, so we'll have to wait and see kind of how far and how long they can stroll out here on the speedway before pit stops start to become an issue or tire wear starts to become even more of a problem. But for Matt Hayden rolling out in front right now, nothing seems to be the problem for this 5 machine, as he's got a 1.2 second lead, making off these laps now and drawing closer and closer to our midway point of this race. It's Hayden, Clinton Woodby, Caleb Kleinert, our top 3. Jesse Calloway's back in 4th with David Trailer Jr. now rounding out our top 5. Ashley Ellison Jr. rolls there in 6th with Rooster Rodden, Tyler Stevenson there in 8th. And then we see Catania back in 9th and Skylar Berry there in 10th. Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr., Rusty Modesty, Justin Lawson, Colton Hardy, Nate Cogdell, our top 15 on the racetrack with Michael Newman, Nathan Somerville, Paul Durkee, who's now unfortunately had to come down pit road as well. Looks like Durkee has lost a lap out there on the racetrack. The 31 ride had made an emergency pit stop back on lap number 41. And unfortunately for Paul Durkee, finds himself a lap down. He's going to need this one to really cycle through, and he's really got to hope that this race goes for 2 green flag pit stops to even try to give himself an opportunity. That was definitely a missed opportunity there, and an unscheduled pit stop on lap 40 definitely going to set him back here this evening. So we'll see how this plays out, if he can get lucky with maybe a caution flag and a lucky dog back on the lead lap, or if things cycle through, potentially getting that free pass back on the lead lap as well. But for Matt Hayden, Clinton Woodby, Caleb Kleiner, they sit 1, 2, and 3. Honestly, Hayden with a 1.3 second lead between himself and Woodby and Caleb Kleiner. The gap between Kleiner and our 4th place driver Jesse Calloway has grown now to about 2.8 seconds. So things are really spread out here. Things are really kind of getting a little bit wild. You see a lot of these big gaps. A lot of drivers, steamrolling forward. A lot of other drivers, unfortunately, falling backwards here. I'm going to wonder, what will the strategy look like here at the end of this race as across the line they complete lap number 47. They still have 54 laps here in this feature event. So 54 laps left to go here this evening, and things are just starting to heat up for these drivers. Obviously, the strategy calls and everything else are going to play a major factor. You got to wonder, maybe it's not just tires, maybe it's fuel as well that the 51 of Stevenson of Catania are trying to save here by toning this, speed down a little bit. Maybe they're saving, that extra, tenth of a gallon or 2/10 every single lap. That could bleed and build into a big potential that they can make that extra lap or 2 that they may need to make this race on only one more pit stop out there on the racetrack. And if they can't, then I think we're going to see these guys start to come down pit road somewhere around lap number 55. So really not too far away from green flag pit stops here this evening. We'll have to wait and see when that trigger is pulled and when they're able to really start sending it down pit side here for green flag pit stops. And you don't really want to be the first, but you don't want to be the last driver down pit road, especially if you are Matt Hayden or Clinton Woodby, Caleb Kleiner. So you have to keep a close eye on our front runners, but it's going to be the drivers back there behind them that are probably going to have to make a little bit more of a tough decision on when they need to hit pit road, when they need to make this green flag pit stop, and whether or not they could be sitting in the catbird seat. You got to think drivers that may not have used those fresh tires, they're going to be using those fresh tires this next pit stop. The drivers that had already used the setup during that stage break, when you look at, Matt Hayden, Clinton Woodby, Caleb Kleiner, drivers that have used those, fresh tires already, when will they have to come down pit road, and what will their strategy be? Will they give it all back now, save a set of tires throughout this run, hope to have that extra set later in this race, as we do see Tyler Stevenson and Catania both head down pit side here at Motegi, and they are going to get some tires put onto their race trucks, get some fuel, and hope that they can use it to their advantage here at the midway point of this feature event. As 50 laps down, technically 51 laps down now, and now only 50 laps left to go here this evening. So 51 in, 50 laps left to go. Matt Hayden continues to roll out in front, and you can hear these drivers out there on the racetrack really starting to save a little bit of fuel out here as well. You can start hearing the RPMs really drop there. They're clutching these cars down and into the corners to see if we can jump on board right there. You can hear him on corner entry, instead of really riding the brakes or anything, pushes that clutch in, just lets the car coast into the corner, starts to gradually build back up that speed down and out of the corner. Not really too hard on it down the straightaway, only building up to about that about 6,700 RPMs there. So not really super heavy RPMs. and a little bit of clutching out there on the racetrack, trying to save that extra little bit of fuel. If you are Matt Hayden, if you are Clinton Woodby or any of these other drivers, what is that going to look like for us? We do now see Colton Hardy's down pit side. We saw the 28 and Nathan Somerville come down pit road. Paul Durkee obviously pitted back on lap number 40, but for Tyler Stevenson and Catania, they came down up pit road on lap number 50. You know, what's the game plan for these two? Are they planning on just running the next 25 laps as hard as possible, try to run as many laps here, and then potentially come back down pit side, throw another set of fresh tires on, and then try to make it there to the end of this race? Or, you know, what's the game plan for the drivers in front of them? As we do see Skylar Berry now making his way down pit road as they have completed lap number 53 here this evening. So 53 laps down. I believe this next time by the start finish line, this will be 25 laps here of green flag racing. So 25 laps, green flag, have already been laid down since our last caution flag for the stage break. And for Matt Hayden, he continues to roll out in front, has about 1.4 seconds between himself, Caleb Kleinert, and Clinton Woodby, as you do see Kleinert able to work his way around Clinton Woodby. As now here comes Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr. He makes his way down pit side. So more and more of these drivers, slowly but surely, starting to trickle their way down pit road. But the big question will be is how much further can these race leaders go? Can they make it to a number that they can make this on only one pit stop here throughout this race? Or will they be, you know, will they have to make another pit stop? Will they have to make another green flag stop before the end of this race? If they were to pit right now, they more than likely wouldn't be able to make it here. But if they can stretch it out another 5-10 laps or so, you know, it brings into that question mark. They may be able to make it to the end of this race with only one pit stop here during the green flag conditions. See, he still here this 5 ride, and the 196 at Kleiner, the 92 at Clinton Woodby. They are definitely saving fuel. So I think they're really trying to get to that number. They're really trying to hit that number to where they're going to be good on fuel. They only have to make that one pit stop, and that could really hurt the chances and the odds here of other drivers when you look back at Tyler Stevenson and Matthew Catania, who are now trying to work their way through some of our top 5 and 10 here this evening, trying to battle their way back to our race leaders to try to get back on the lead lap, which case they're running definitely a lot quicker, a lot faster with those fresh tires. But how much are they giving up here? How much are they going to be, you know, falling behind overall on this strategy? Will they be able to use those fresh tires not once but twice to their advantage, that they can open up and kind of build, you know, almost a lap back out there on the racetrack, is what they'll probably more than likely have to try to regain here late in this race. As of right now, they're hoping that their strategy plays out into their favor. They had a big gap to gain. We'll see if they can figure that out and see how it works out for them. As Matt Hayden back down the back straightaway here, going to complete 57.5 laps as he heads down the back stretch and into corner number 3 once again for this 5 ride, and he is starting to open up a little bit more of a lead between himself and Caleb Kleiner. The gap has grown to about 1.7 seconds here down the straightaways, reaching 1.8 seconds as across the line 58 laps completed. We're still waiting on our top 10 drivers to potentially make their way back down pit road. You look back at David Traylor, we know he is really good, really talented at these fuel run strategy races. He came back down pit road there on lap number 28, so he actually has a little extra bit of fuel over the rest of these drivers that are still on this fuel-saving strategy, so it could put him into a little bit better of a position later on here this evening. But as of right now, they're going to head down and out of corner number 4, back down across the line, still not coming down pit road. So this will click off lap number 59, making this a 30-lap run here on fuel. So they've ran 30 laps now since the drop restart here this evening. Since that green flag came back out, 30 laps of non-stop green flag racing action. And for Matt Hayden, out in front, obviously hoping that the fresh tires can work into his favor for drivers like Clinton Woodby and for, you know, Stevenson, and for Catania, they're steamrolling around these guys. You can tell the difference in speed, the fresh tires to the old tires, and right now you're watching it happen as the 51 at Stevenson reeling in to our race leader, Matt Hayden. Hayden's going to have really nothing for them, so he's either going to have to make a decision to kind of move up out of the way, let them go by, or maybe try to hold him up. It may work a little bit better into his favor later in this race, as this may be exactly what we see here. You know, maybe in another 30-40 laps of racing action, potentially could see the 51 and the 318 catch up and pass this 5 right late in the race to steal the win away from him. But as of right now, for Matt Hayden, man, the strategy calls, the way these guys are racing, it kind of feels like almost a little bit of like a Darlington race, but like a lot wider of a racetrack. I don't know. This is a weird speedway. It's a weird speedway, weird racetrack, but it kind of gives that little bit of a Darlington feel where if it wasn't for the wide straightaways and the wide corners, like, I don't know, it's like a combination between Darlington and Michigan, the way that this track is built and kind of laid out. Like, it's so wide, it's so big, but at the same point in time, it's got that weird shape to it that could really hurt drivers around the corners, and it could definitely make things a lot of fun here late in this race. Let's see if we can get the track map up here as well. See if we can get this track map up. Let's go position here on that track map. So there's the track map. As you look at it, it looks a lot like Darlington from the track map, where it's got that really big wide corner 1 and 2, and then down in 3 and 4 it kind of like pinches in and gets a whole lot more narrow and very, very sharp for that 3rd and 4th corner on the racetrack. So it's built a lot like that, but it's so dang wide compared to Darlington that obviously, you know, you're running way down on the apron on what would be kind of more of the flat track for the Darlington Raceway. So it's kind of like that crossbreed between Michigan and potentially Darlington here. And this is really interesting racetrack, really interesting race. Obviously our first time here, so we're learning along the way, you know, how far these guys can really go, what kind of strategies they can pull, and it seems like it's playing out kind of like one of those, you know, fuel strategy races that we've seen in the past. As here comes Jesse Calloway, Michael Newman. They're going to pit here on lap number 63, which I do believe is about a 34 lap run, 34 laps I do believe, but we see Matt Hayden, he's staying out here. He's now completed 64 laps, so he's going a little bit farther, and by running that 64 laps here so far in this feature event, they went back to green flag racing back on lap 29. That means that, you know, they've ran 34, 35 laps here, almost 36 laps of green flag racing since that restart. Now it looks like he's going to make his way down pit road, so the 5 right heads down pit side. This is where he cannot make a mistake. He cannot get caught speeding, cannot have an issue down pit road here, especially for these drivers that are on a one-stop strategy. But for Matt Hayden, Rooster Rodden, Caleb Clattert, and Ashley Elson Jr., I think they hit their number, that 36 lap area. That means they got 36 laps left to go here in this feature event. So virtually what they just ran, they virtually have to do again to get to the end of this race. So whatever savings they were doing, whatever game plan that they had strategized, they virtually just have to mirror that again and hope that they come out on top here late in this race. As you see Clinton Woodby and David Traylor, they're going a little bit longer. We know David is really, really good at saving fuel. Clinton has been learning a lot from David Traylor, and I think he has learned quite a bit here in that Sears Diehard number 92 on how to try to save some fuel, how to try to put himself into a good position. But right now, obviously, a little bit more off the pace, really trying to save some fuel, trying to make it that extra lap out there on the racetrack, knowing that that could be the difference maker on a one-stop strategy, or having to make an additional pit stop late in this race, as I do believe we're going to probably see him head down pit road this time. You can see him down onto the apron. He's making sure he hits his marks, doesn't get caught speeding, doesn't get slipping and sliding around on the racetrack. As they come back down pit side, it'll go to the drivers that made that earlier pit stop. They will leapfrog all those guys. They will now be out in front, but with their strategy, you know, they're probably only, you know, 8-9 laps away from potentially having to come back down pit road themselves here. So for Matthew Catania, Tyler Stevenson, they now have the race lead. They sit 1 and 2 out there on the racetrack with, Catania going to be taking over the top spot here. He will be our new race leader. Stevenson will stay there in second as buffering there on YouTube. I'm not sure what that's all about. Hopefully that is fixed. Hopefully that's not given too much of an issue. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Well, hopefully looks good. Hopefully it looks good. It may have blinked there a couple seconds. I do see a few skip frames there a little while ago, but other than that, it looks like it has been good. So hopefully that is a-okay. Hopefully we're not going to experience any more of that here this evening. So let's say stream quality is good there on Streamlabs, so should be a-okay. I don't think we're going to run into any more problems, so that should have fixed itself. We should be good there. But here we go. Out in front, it is Catania with the race lead. The 51 of Stevenson will be in second. Let's see now. The big thing is that they have ran 16, 17 laps. Medic says no buffering or stuttering here. Okay, perfect. We love to hear that. We love to hear that. It looked like it did on my end for a split second there, but it fixed itself. So hopefully that doesn't happen again, and hopefully it holds up strong here for the rest of this amazing feature event. As 69 laps completed here this evening. And you can see kind of what the strategies are looking like here for some of these guys, how these strategies are playing out as you take a look back at, Colton Hardy, who was down pit road on lap 51, and where he is in comparison to these guys as they had made their pit stops and rolled back out there. You look at Catania and Stevenson sitting 1 and 2. They have opened up about, 4 or 5 seconds between themselves and Matt Hayden, and I think for Hayden, right now, he's on the strategy of probably trying to either run as far away as possible where he can open up such a big lead late in this race that it won't give Catania and Stevenson enough time to hunt him down, or at the same point in time trying to save as much tire and everything right now where he can kind of hold that speed a lot longer in the run and give himself even bigger of a break here late in this race. I think that's probably the strategy that Five Ride's got to be rolling. I think all these guys that are on this later pit stop strategy, only trying to pit one time here this evening, I think their strategy has to be trying to save as much as possible right now. You have to save a bit of fuel. You better save it now and not late in the race, where if the 51 and the 318 or any of these other drivers that are on that earlier pit stop strategy do catch you, that you can at least put your foot back into the throttle and try to hold them back there at bay. And I think for Catania and Stevenson, they just got to keep on rolling here as fast as possible and hope that when they do make their final pit stop, that they give themselves enough time to reel in this Five Ride of Matt Hayden and Kill Kleiner, Rooster Rodden, Skylar Berry, all these other guys, and trying to get around them and try to put themselves into that winning strategy. But we'll see kind of what that will play out like here. Obviously, we got just under 30 laps left to go here in this feature event, and I'm sure we're starting to see some of these guys. There you go. The 31 of Paul, the old man Turkey, makes his way down pit road. Now, he did pit a lot earlier than a lot of these other drivers. He was down pit road around lap number 40. So he came down pit side a whole lot earlier than a lot of these other drivers. So we'll have to wait and see, how this will play out for that 31 ride. I think that may be a little too early. Maybe it'll work out nicely for him to get a good solid finish here this evening. Obviously, you see Catania and Stevenson, they're going to keep on rolling. Now, they came down pit road about 9-10 laps after that 31 machine. So if they kind of pull that same strategy, if they go another 9-10 laps, that's going to put them within 20 laps left in this feature event, and I'm not sure if they're going to have enough time to make up all that ground and be able to reel in our front runners here this evening. So they got to be very, very on point here with their strategy calls and when they decide to make these pit stops and make their way down pit road here this evening, as Catania, Stevenson, Matt Hayden, 1, 2, and 3 out there on the speedway, as we're going to jump into a quick piece of Minker Gaming. Crank it up, ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls, we want you guys to hit that like button on the stream for us right now. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and make sure you crank up that volume and cheer on these amazing drivers here at Motegi. Caution flag on the racetrack. Yellow, yellow, yellow. Oh, this caution flag is a big one because this really puts a lot of drivers into a difficult position, but it really helps out potentially one driver, and that is the 318 of Matthew Catania. As Catania had just come down pit road, had just put his last set of fresh tires onto the race car. He'll stay on the lead lap, scored in the 11th position, and this could put him into the best position late in this race. And it is the 51 ride who we saw in front, leading so many laps early on here this evening. And our pole sitter, it is that number 51 of Tyler Stevenson, who's going to run into some issues here. Let's take a look and see what happens. Stevenson had already made his last pit stop here on lap number 78. He was zooming through the field, trying to make up ground, trying to race his way towards the front, and it's underneath the 20 ride, and on corner exit, looks like the 20 gets loose, comes down and into the 51, and that's what spins him sideways, giving pretty solid damage there to both Lawson and the 51 of Tyler Stevenson. Tough hit right there. Tough hit, tough break there for the 51 ride, and obviously the 20 ride getting the damage, but you can see how he just gets loose on corner exit, getting back on the throttle, comes down into that right rear quarter panel, spins that C451 ride around. He gets up into the outside fence with that 20 ride. They both end up making some pretty solid contact together and some pretty good damage to both their race cars. But now the big question is going to be, obviously, we see a few drivers down pit road. Now, I don't think any of these guys are going to have tires. See if we can play this back, see if we can see. Well, maybe some fresh tires going on to a couple of these cars. So there may have been a couple other drivers. We're kind of on this long game here, trying to make sure they have an extra set back there behind pit wall. And it looks like for Skylar Berry, Jesse Calloway, Rusty Modesty may be here, as well as Lawson and the 97 of Colton Hardy. He may have had an extra setback behind pit wall as well. So it was a great break there for the number 318 of Matthew Catania, as now he'll be the highest running driver with the freshest tires here. He may be able to just make easy work of the 6 drivers in front of him here on this restart and put himself up into victory lane. But there is a few drivers that'll be right there behind him that may get some opportunities here to try to go after him here today as well. That was definitely a tough yellow right there. Obviously, no one likes to see caution flags here in the series other than for our stages, and that is our first wreck for incident here this evening, and that's really going to mix things up out there on the racetrack, as we'll have to wait and see kind of how this plays out and who this helps, who this puts into a good position late in this race, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing. I do know that Matt Hayden, Caleb Kleiner, Rooster Ronan, Ashley Elson Jr., a bunch of these guys towards the front. When you look at Clinton Woodby and David Trailer, they did not want to see that caution flag. They had their strategy. It seemed like it was probably going to work. They were going to be able to make it to the end of this race without having to make an additional pit stop here this evening. Unfortunately, not going to go that way here this evening, and it looks like they're going to have their hands full late in this race, trying to hold off some of these fresher tires back there behind them, as they're going to have about 20 lap old tires compared to fresh tires out there on the racetrack, and they may just be sitting ducks here late in this race. So for the drivers that got fresh tires, when you look at Catania, you look at Jesse Calloway, Skylar Berry, Rusty Modesty, they could be in a really good spot here late in this one, man. Obviously, Colton Hardy did as well, but Colton is still a lap down. He needs to work his way into the lucky dog position, hope for a caution flag, and then still have to work his way through that traffic. As here we go for what could be our final restart of the day here from Motegi, as the 5 ride of Matt Hayden. Great launch, great start, slides up in front of the 196 of Caleb Kleiner. Kleiner's going to try to get back down to his inside here, as everyone on the throttle, everyone's pushing their way up towards the front, and one of those being those fresh tires of the 318. Matthew Catania now finds himself up and into that 5th position. Here comes Calloway as well as Barry, and some of these other fresh tires back there behind him, as David Trailer Jr. goes way up the racetrack here in 3 and 4. Unfortunately, that's going to cost him a couple spots out there on the racetrack, but for Matt Hayden, he'll click off another lap, and it's 11 laps left to go. here in this one. 3 wide back behind them. Oh, baby. It's a good thing this track is wide, because I don't know if that would have worked if we were at Darlington or another racetrack. But here at Motegi, man, big wide corners, they get enough room, and they do see the fresh tires just move right on around him. Catania now up and into third, now making his way around his teammate there as the 196 slides back into third, and Catania now up and into second here, and he has his eyes set on this 5 right of Matt Hayden. Hayden's going to have to pull a rabbit out of a hat here in these final 10 laps to probably try to keep these fresh tires back there at bay, as Catania quickly worked his way up into second. He's holding that inside lane a whole lot better with those fresh tires than the 5 right is, and I think that's going to be the big point here late in this race, as you do see Skylar Berry, a couple of these other drivers like Rusty Modesty with their fresh tires. They're trying to work their way up to the front here, and you see Modesty going right to the inside, taking them 3 wide. He's hoping that it works out for him, trying to get a good run on corner exit, and hoping to see if he can slide up into position number 4, as we do see Catania already around the 5 right of Matt Hayden. This is what we talked about, man. Those fresh tires late in this race, that was make or break for a lot of these drivers. It made the day for a lot of them, and unfortunately it took a good finish away from probably a bunch of these guys, as you see Matt Hayden with the 20 lap or better older tires, unfortunately just not having anything for these guys, man. The strategy kind of went right out the window as that caution flag was thrown, and he's going to see these guys just continue to kind of steamroll right on around him, as Skylar Berry up and into second. Here comes Modesty looking for position number 3. You do see Clinton would be back there in 5th. He's doing a good job holding on to a top 5 here, as he had also made that earlier pit stop, but he was aggressively saving fuel, and we'll have to wait and see if this can work out in his favor or not late in this race. You do see Rooster Rodden back in 6th, Caleb Kleiner now in 7th, Ashley Ellison Jr. is falling back to 8th, as you do take a look at the 33, trying to make it 3 wide right there. Same with the 51 ride right into that picture as well. They're going to make contact. Look out, Stevenson up the racetrack into the outside fence. Boom, bing, bam, and a caution flag will come out again for the 51 of Tyler Stevenson here this evening. So another late race caution flag, and Stevenson, I don't know, it seemed like he sent it in there deep, but he kind of cut the nose off his own teammate right here as he drives down and across here of that 133. Looks like it doesn't quite get clear of Ashley Ellison Jr. into the corner right here, and that kind of upsets the race truck. He comes down, boom, across the nose of his teammate as he wasn't clear yet, and as he's kind of sliding sideways, continues down the racetrack into the 33 ride of Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr. Obviously, they make a little bit more contact there in a truck that's already loose and sideways on the racetrack. And that extra little contact just helped him back it right up the racetrack and into the outside fence. Heavy rear end damage there for that 51 ride. And then he bounces back down the track, ends up getting a piece of the 4 of Jesse Calloway. He's hoping that he can hang on to it. Looks like Calloway is able to keep it rolling, but for the 51, comes to a stop on the racetrack. Caution lights come on. We get our 3rd yellow flag of the day, our 2nd for incident here this evening, and it looks like Stevenson going to come down pit road, going to look to try to get some more repairs done to that race truck. Unfortunately, though, he was a lap down, and he will not be in line for the Lucky Dog. The driver that is in line, though, for the Lucky Dog, great break here. He was having a pretty strong run there over those last, 5-10 laps. Was this 28 and Nathan Somerville? Somerville will get the wave around back on the lead lap. Unfortunately for Colton Hardy, could not get there. He's in line now if we get another caution flag for the next wave, but unfortunately still stuck a lap down here in this one. As Laura says, go number 5, cheering on that 5 machine of Matt Hayden here this evening. Hayden, unfortunately, just the opposite side of these yellows with the older tires. He's just in a world of hurt right now. He's got to hope that with this caution flag, with the laps that they have ran, maybe it'll kind of balance out the tires a little bit where, a short run, maybe he can find that extra little bit of speed. Maybe the other drivers will, have their tires kind of fall off a little bit through this yellow, and maybe they can be a little bit more heads up here late in this race to give him a shot at probably trying to, finish off at least with a good top 5 finish, or potentially still try to battle for this race win. But I think those fresh tires are going to make the world of difference. We saw how quick they were and how quickly they had raced their way up to the front, gotten around Matt Hayden, and taken the top 3 positions away from that fine ride. And unfortunately, it may continue on here this evening as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go for Catania. He did not want to see that yellow flag. Is now for the 318 machine. He's got Skylar Berry, Rusty Modesty right there with him. You look a little farther back as well. You see, Clinton Woodby and Hayden's there. You see Rooster Rodden, Caleb Kleinert, Justin Lawson's now into 8th with Ashley Ellison Jr. and Paul Durkee rounding out our top 10. Jesse Calloway sits back there in 11th with David Traylor Jr. sitting there in 12th. Somerville, he's got some good fresh tires on that truck as well. He sits in position number 13 now at the rear of the field as he has to start the back of the pack, but back on the lead lap here. Everyone else, unfortunately, is at least a lap down here as Colton Hardy, Jimmy Fitzmaurice Jr., Michael Newman, Tyler Stevenson, Nate Cogdell, and Nick Garner, all at least 1 or 2 laps down out there on the speedway. So it's down to our top 13 drivers here this evening. Potentially try to put yourself up and into victory lane as we'll get ready to set them back loose here. They'll complete lap number 37, so this should be a 4-lap shootout here to our finish this afternoon. So if you guys came here for a show, here you go as they're about to get it on like Donkey Kong. And make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button as here we go back to Green Flag Racing with the Metalheads Truck Series as Matthew Catania. Great launch, great restart, quickly clears that 46 of Skylar Berry. Keeps his foot in the throttle here down through 1 and 2, hoping to try to build up maybe a truck length or 2 lead down and out of corner number 2, and that's exactly what he will do as he's trying to pull away and hoping that he can put himself up and into victory lane. But for Skylar Berry and Rusty Modesty, they're going to be looking to close that gap right back up and hoping to try to catch up to that 318 ride and potentially try to steal this win away from them here this evening. As Clinton would be up and into that 4th position, Matt Hayden falls back into 5th as you see them 3, 4, 5 wide back here. You know, couple rows deep, battling hard out there on the racetrack. Everyone's trying to race their way towards the front. Everyone's hoping to find that extra inch or 2 to put themselves into a good finish here this evening. And obviously with these late race restarts, some drivers on older tires, some drivers on newer tires, as we see Paul Durkee and the 54 David Traylor Jr. tied together in the outside fence, and the caution flag will fly. Yellow flag is back out into the air. Caution flag, caution flag. We did see Jesse Calloway also run into some issues here. Let's take a look at Calloway. Is down and out of there. Yeah, he just kind of runs into the back end of them as they're getting tied together right in front of him. He has turned around. He ends up down the racetrack. Now, I don't know if he makes any contact with the inside fence here or not. Oh, it looks like he does end up making some pretty hard contact there with that inside wall. So for Jesse Calloway, you got to hope that you still got a quick repair in your back pocket, that you can get this truck fixed up and stay in this race. And then if you are David Traylor Jr., Paul Durkee, you're wondering what in the world is going on here, as they were part of that, 3-4 wide right here. And as they head down into corner number 1 and 2, Durkee kind of falls more to the middle. David gets a good run to the outside. He tries to take advantage of it. And as they exit corner number 2, they just run out of room. And unfortunately for David, he's got nowhere else to go right here at this point because, man, he's pinched to the outside fence. There's nothing he can really try to, he can't go farther right because he's already into the wall. And unfortunately for Paul Durkee, he finds out in a quick hurry that the 54 right is there and that he didn't give him enough room as they pancake the wall and each other. And that's where Calloway has to get checked up and goes around himself. They get parked up into the outside fence, and that's where we find our 4th caution flag of the day. 3 late race yellows here to really flip this one on its head this afternoon, and that's going to make things really interesting here. This is going to make things really fun late in the race. Once again, for Matthew Catania, we saw how good of a restart he had gotten, and he was able to get a good launch and a good run to kind of open up a pretty solid lead between himself and Skylar Berry. Now, for this next restart, he's got to try to play a different hand Hope to try to catch that 46 run, kind of sitting back a little bit, just like he did on the last restart. If you're Skylar Berry, you're going to hope that, maybe you found something out, maybe get a little bit better of a restart, trying to compete and battle more door-to-door with this 318 down that front straightaway and into corner number 1 to kind of put him at a bit of a disadvantage, or to, try to hurt his run, try to hurt his chances of winning this race and trying to up yours. You're late in this race as the Sonic Graphics designs. Ghost Energy number 46 is hoping that he can try to find victory lane here this evening. If you're the 318 of Matthew Catania, you're trying to hold these guys off. You need a good restart. You need to get a good run here for the next couple laps and hope that it can really work out in your favor. And then coming into play, obviously now with a few caution laps, and now heading into NASCAR overtime, as across the line they will officially hit our distance here, our scheduled distance of 101 laps. So we are going past that into NASCAR overtime here this evening for our first attempt at a NASCAR overtime here this evening at Motegi, as a few of these guys, man, they were down pit road on lap 65, lap 67. They may be getting real tight on fuel, so if they go to a second NASCAR overtime, maybe a third NASCAR overtime, they may have to make an extra pit stop here, get some fuel into their race trucks, or else they may not make it to the end of this race, where they could really hurt their advantage here. A good run, good position, and potentially fall even farther back in the field. So we'll have to see how this kind of gets played out and who ends up in a good position late in this race, as we did see Colton Hardy get the lucky dog back on the lead lap here. David Traylor's trying to catch back up to the rest of the field, as Jesse Calloway did get his truck fixed back up. He rolls off in 12th, but for Colton Hardy, that was a good yellow flag, because that got him the wave around. The lucky dog back on the lead lap. We'll see if that Ghost Energy Lime and Cherry number 97 can find something here late in this race. And now we see David Traylor run into issues. I think he was trying to catch up to the pack. I don't think he realized he was catching them this quickly, and ends up getting in here a little too fast. Has to slam onto the binders there, ends up going sideways himself, but nonetheless, we're going to keep on going. We're going to go back to green flag racing as another good launch for that 318. He clears the 46 once again as Skylar Berry. Berry looking for something down through 1 and 2, hoping to get a good run on corner exit. So is it Clinton Woodby, and that 6 right of Modesty, as Modesty works down to the inside of that 46 ride. Now they're 2-3 wide here for that second position. Matt Hayden's trying to steal a couple spots here late in this race, and that's exactly what Matthew Catania wanted to see. He wants to see them battle and duking it out back there behind him, as that's opened up about half a second gap between himself and Modesty, and the white flag has been displayed. So one more time around here this evening from Motegi, as Matthew Catania in the CCR Esports white flag lap, looking to put his CCR Esports number 318 into victory lane here this evening, as Catania down the back straightaway for the final time here this evening, all the way from Japan in the Metalheads Truck Series. The 318 of Matthew Catania will round corner number 4, and he will pick up the win here at Motegi, as Catania gets it done, and he'll be crowned the champion here in our race in Japan. The winner here in our Japan race this afternoon. This is going to be a fun one for him. Obviously, not the champion of the series, but the champion here in our swing to the edge of the world, into Japan here, ladies and gentlemen, and this is going to be a big win for him. He's going to be feeling pretty pumped about this, because the strategy ended up working perfectly for him. Now the caution flags obviously really helped him out. Modesty comes home in second. Skylar Berry comes home with a solid top 3 run. Clinton Woodby back in 4th, Rooster Ronan in 5th, and then we see Matt Hayden, Caleb Kleiner, Nathan Somerville, Ashley Ellison Jr., and Justin Lawson rounding out our top 10 here this evening. Great runs, great racing here, and obviously for Matthew Catania, he gets to celebrate now on the front straightaway as our race winner here at the beautiful Motegi Raceway this afternoon, and he gets to celebrate a big win here in Japan, and the crowd is absolutely going wild, and man, he is ready to celebrate here this evening, and we can't wait to get him up into the broadcast booth here for some post-race interviews. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, don't go anywhere, because we're going to be bringing these drivers in for some post-race interviews here this afternoon, and if you guys enjoyed that racing action, make sure you hit that subscribe button, become part of the Peacemaker family here today as we'll get ready to pull the 318 up and in to the broadcast booth. Woo, baby, that was great. That was an amazing run, man. This was a lot of fun, and these guys put together an absolutely wicked showdown for us here in this one. Let's get Matthew right up here into the booth. As soon as we can find him. Where did he just disappear to? There he is. All right, let's get our race winner up here into the broadcast booth with us right now. Hey, Matthew, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Matthew, man, what a run, what a race, man. Take us back through this one. It's obviously some, pretty major different pit strategies here throughout this race, with you guys trying to save that extra set of tires for late in this race, and it seemed like it was going to be a bit of an uphill challenge as we were going clean and green. It looked like all those other drivers that were saving fuel that took tires during our stage break we're going to be able to make it on that one-stop strategy. And you, Tyler Stevenson, a lot of other cats, we're going to have to make up a whole lot of track position, a whole lot of ground out there on the racetrack in a very short amount of time, where I'm not sure if you guys would have been able to catch back up to our race leaders to battle for the race win here this evening. But luckily enough for yourself, just as you come down pit road and get your pit stop in, caution flag comes out. Now you sit in the best position with the best tires, and you're able to use it to your advantage to bring that 318 home in victory lane here in Japan, man. Take us through it and what's going through your mind after what was a pretty crazy and obviously exciting race there at the end with the late race caution flags.
Yeah, I don't even really know how to react to this one. I mean, I'm happy I got the win, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, that was not my race to win. I was not that great tonight. I really don't feel like I was that great. I mean, I qualified like crap and didn't get any practice all week, and um, I really messed up on strategy. I feel like Tyler and we made a pit adjustment, and it just wasn't going to work out as well as Trailer and all those other guys that could have made it on one stop after the stage. We had to pit twice, and I just got incredibly lucky. I'm gonna be honest. I got incredibly lucky with that caution. That saved me because I had fresh tires. I was just coming out of the pits. I didn't go a lap down and was able to restart seventh on freshies. I know Skylar and Rusty, I think, were on new tires too, but I think they started a little farther back. Um, Man, I don't even know. I definitely didn't set myself up to win this one tonight, and I ended up winning it. So I mean, awesome, but man, I hate it for Trailer and Hayden and Woodby and all those guys that really had their strategy set up to win.
Yeah, absolutely. Strategy to win it if it stayed clean and green. I think they were sitting in a really good position there. As soon as that caution flag came out, their strategy virtually went right out the window. We looked to see where we were on the racetrack, and as I said, yeah, able to stay on the lead lap. That was a big thing right there. And then obviously, even if you did fall a lap down, you could have been in potentially line for the lucky dog, or could have gotten it. Wrote a couple more of these yellow flags. There's a couple more yellows here. Made your job a little bit tougher as you were able to quickly work your way around those older tire drivers. Jump out in front here, and with 5-6 laps left to go, all of a sudden we start to see a few more of these yellow flags fly. You got to do a couple late race restarts, and you got to try to keep Skylar, Barry, and Rusty Modesty back there at bay, as they were on the same strategy as you. They had those fresh tires in their back pocket as well, so they were kind of on a level playing field with you. But just being able to get a good launch and a good run, they never had enough time to try to reel back into you, or trying to take this win away from you here tonight.
Yeah, it's just so hard to pass here. I mean, especially on even on new tires, it's hard to pass here. Just that the air is so bad and the lane's so thin. Um, I knew once we started getting those cautions there at the end, I knew if I get a good jump and I push the air on the left front of the guy behind me, then I'd pretty much be set to win it. Just kind of, keep it straight, keep it smooth. Um, and that's pretty much what I had to do there. I had to keep trying to push dirty air on the guys behind me just to just to run away. I mean, once I was in position to win it, I was going to take everything I could and run away. Um, like I said, it just sucks. It sucks for those guys that really were dominant tonight and could have won it. But overall, I mean, I'm not going to complain too much. I'll take the win. I'll take the points and go on about my day. Um, yeah, I really don't know what else to say, man. I'm happy, but I'm also disappointed.
Absolutely. Always happy to find victory lane. Obviously wanting to have a little bit better of a run and not have to bank on that caution flag to put yourself into this winning position. But man, sometimes you just got to be a little bit better, a little bit more lucky than good out there on the racetrack. And a lot of times, if you got that luck on your side, you find yourself right where you are in victory lane. And here tonight, it works out nicely for you. You're able to get the job done here in this one, man. Who's like to thank for another good run, another good race, and another checkered flag here in the win column for the 318 machine?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my teammates more than anything. I mean, they helped me out a lot. Just being that I haven't been able to test it all this week, and this is a very very line specific track, and um, I feel like I got better throughout the race because of them, Tyler and Caleb and Ashley. They really helped me out a lot. I hate it for Nick. He had to get off early on. I feel like this was another one of his tracks, was something that he would have been good at, and he just ended up having to leave early. And but yeah, I'd like to thank them. I'd like to thank my girlfriend for letting me do this every Monday, letting me, supporting me, and um, you for broadcasting, and Nate for putting on the league.
Absolutely. Well, Matthew, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening, brother. Congrats on the win. We can't wait to see you guys back out there on the racetrack and back to battle here again next Monday night.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night and don't party too hard down there in Victory Lane.
You as well, man.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Mr. Matthew Catania. As Catania picks up the dub, a big win there for him, and you got to look behind him here. Obviously, a lot of drivers that were in line to potentially get better runs and good finishes and maybe race wins themselves here this afternoon. Unfortunately, got thrown out the window, but for a couple others, they worked their way up into a podium run, and we're going to get ready to pull in our second place finisher, the number 6 of Rusty Modesty. Let's get Rusty up here into the booth. Hey, Rusty, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Hi, Aaron.
Rusty, brother, man, a good run, good race here for you tonight. Obviously, that late race caution flag worked perfectly into your hand here this evening as you still had that fresh set of tires back down behind pit wall. You used them to your advantage to get through some of the older tire traffic, and you get some shots here late in the race with the late race restarts to work yourself finally around Skylar Berry, and unfortunately just not enough time to get up there and try to battle with Catania for the race win here this evening. But all in all, man, a solid second place run. You got to feel good with how this one kind of finished off for
Yeah, this was all pure luck. I think we were very limited on tires tonight, and I just being as slow as I was, I knew that was my only shot of finishing anywhere near the top. And just so happens, guys murder themselves trying to pass me because I'm so slow, and then I finished second. So no, this was just uh, I don't know. I'm happy I finished second, but also I didn't earn any of that. This is all
you.
golden luck. So I feel good, but also know that I was like maybe a 10th place car tonight. So
Hey, sometimes you got to take them when you can get them, and here tonight you got a good one out of the deal. And you know what? You're not the only one that has that same sentiment out there on the racetrack as our race winner, Catania. He virtually said the same thing, man. He feels bad for, Hayden and Woodby and a lot of these other guys that were in
they
line
were
for
lights out
the
faster than we
strategy.
were.
Yeah, for the strategy, if there was no late race caution flag, that they would have just been able to, be on cruise control and to, either race win or good finishes themselves here this evening. evening, but that caution flag flipped that whole strategy upside down. It put it into your hands, and you're able to take advantage of it, man. And sometimes it's better to be lucky than good out there on the racetrack, and here tonight, it proved it.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, again, we'll look forward next week, whatever that may be. But yeah, sucks for Matt. Sucks for those guys that were doing the right thing, saving the fuel, getting to the end, calculating it right, just to have that hand grenade tossed in. So
Absolutely. Unfortunately, it took a lot of them out of really good finishes that they probably deserved here this evening, but it puts you up here into position number 2, man. Good points day, good finish, and a good race for yourself. Nonetheless, Rusty, who'd you like to thank for another great run out there on the racetrack?
as always, shout out to the Misfit guys. Always fun to race with them and cut up. Good running tonight for Matt, and just sucks to get it stripped away as normal, but it seems like a pattern. Yeah, no, thanks to you for the broadcast, and thanks for Nate and the boys for putting this on and keeping us all on a straight and narrow. And shout out Lindsay Fitzmaurice.
Hey, Rusty, enjoy the rest of your night, man. We can't wait to see you back out on the racetrack again next Monday.
Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Mr. Rusty Modesty. As Modesty parks it in position number 2, we'll get ready now to pull in our third place finisher. It's the Duck, Skylar Berry, coming home in third. Let's get him up here into the booth. Hey, Skylar, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth to get a copy.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Not too bad, Skylar, man. Heck of a run here this evening. Obviously, that caution flag kind of worked into your favor here this evening as you were able to use that fresh set of tires without having to make an additional late race pit stop, and it works out perfectly for you as you're able to gain a lot of extra positions late in this race. You work your way up into second there, trying to battle with Catania for that race win late in this one. Unfortunately, though, just kind of left that bottom lane open. Modesty was able to get down to your inside, and he was able to steal that second spot away from you. But, man, a great run, great performance out there. Nonetheless, this afternoon, man, take us back through it. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, see, I know the other guys were talking about it was luck and everything, but honestly, it went just how I expected it to and planned for it to. I don't know if you saw it on the broadcast. I threw a banana peel out the window, and it worked out, and just dug from there. Honestly, just kept the head down. I haven't raced in like a month, so I wasn't expecting anything, and here we are. Sit and figure out turn 3 to like lap 60. So definitely shouldn't be up here, but I am. Choked the end. I just pushed it too hard. I knew I would have to stay close to Catania into 3 to have a shot, and just pushed it too hard and then threw 1 and 2 and got loose and gave Rusty P2.
Yeah, definitely a tough break there, but obviously trying to stick with that 318. He obviously might have this track a little bit more figured out than yourself, so that kind of equaled into it where you needed a little bit more luck, a little bit of a stronger car there late in the race to try to work yourself around him, but still a very solid points day for you as you park that beautiful 46 right up here onto the podium, man. You got to be pretty stacked about that, obviously being able to come out here and get blessed there with that yellow and then be able to finish it off still with a solid podium run.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that was kind of what I was banking on. I know we typically we'll have long green flag runs, but I know usually it just seems like a caution comes out at the end of these. So I was trying to save that extra set, and it just happened to work out. Wasn't expecting to get a top 3 with it, but hey, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So I'll take it every day of the week.
Absolutely, and you park yourself up on the podium here tonight. Skylar, who would you like to thank for another great run and strong performance out there on the racetrack?
First and foremost, just my teammates. Nate, Kevin, David, especially Colton. I talk to him the most out of everybody. He's the one that's been pushing me to get back, come race again, and stuff like that. My mom, my friends who watch the broadcast and pestering me about racing and stuff like that. You for putting on the broadcast, and then just everyone we race with, and also apparently Lindsay Fitzmaurice. Shout out to her tonight.
Beauty. Well, Skylar, great run, great race, man. We can't wait to see you back stateside here all the way from Japan tonight and hopefully get you, back onto the American soil and back out there on the racetrack next Monday and maybe right back up here in a top 3 performance, maybe up in victory lane yourself.
That's the plan. If I have my way, it'll be me or one of my teammates win the race. But I'll see you next week, man.
Beauty. We look forward to it. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Mr. Skylar Berry. As Berry comes home in position number 3, man. Solid run, solid drive there for the 46. Obviously, that caution flag and the few late ones, man, worked into their favor. If we didn't get those yellows, though, man, I think this race was, in the hands of Matt Hayden, potentially maybe Clinton Woodby or that 54 or David Traylor Jr. They may have had a shot. They may have had an opportunity, maybe even throw in Caleb Kleinert into the battle there late in this race as the, that fuel-saving strategy, the tire-saving, everything else would have been really interesting to see how this one would have played out. I think, for Catania and for Stevenson, I think their strategy was just too little laps for it to really play out into their favor. I think just the way that they pitted, even Stevenson pitting, 5 laps or so or 8 laps before we saw Catania start to come down pit side, I don't think he had enough time to really gain an entire lap virtually on Matt Hayden and the rest of those guys on that other strategy to work himself all the way around the racetrack and get back past them to steal this race win back away. So I'm not sure if that strategy would have played out there, and if it didn't play out that way, then it would have been Hayden's race probably to lose here this evening. A heartbreaker there for him, but a great blessing for the rest of these guys that were able to advance forward and finish off tonight with a solid finish and a solid run out there on the racetrack. Because for our first time here at Motegi, man, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. We can't thank you guys enough for showing the love here this evening. Obviously, a really fun race, a really exciting race, and another great night of racing action here on Peacemaker Gaming. If you guys enjoyed that racing action, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit the like on the stream for us right now. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, become part of the Peacemaker family. Share this broadcast off to your friends, your family, to your Facebook or your Discords, Twitter. Bring more eyes and more fans in the stands here to cheer these amazing drivers on and enjoy the amazing racing here nightly on Peacemaker Gaming. As we'll be right back up here in the broadcast booth tomorrow night for our HTK Beagles Truck Series. We'll have these NASCAR trucks back out on the racetrack and duking it out again tomorrow evening for some more amazing racing and some more amazing fun here on Peacemaker Gaming. We can't wait to see you guys hopefully right back up here in the grandstands, cheering them on and showing them love here tomorrow night. But thank you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you guys back here in the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Mellow bass screaming, rubber birds on black. Engines roaring thunder, ain't no turning back. Beast make a friction, sparks light the night. Track of war sounds, adrenaline takes flight. Metalheads moving, the trucks take the lane. Chasing that cloud through the chaos insane. Diesel hearts pumping, it's a high-speed game. Victory lap, gonna carve out the name. Rebels on my six, but my grip don't waver. Drafting wind sharp, every move's got flavor. Brakes don't squeal, they scream in heat. On the asphalt battlefield, where the fierce come paint. Rivals on my six, but my grip don't waver. Drafting wind sharp, every move's got flavor. waver. Brakes don't squeal, they scream in heat on the asphalt battlefield where the fierce compete. Tires grip tight, flames dance on steel. Spins and skids twist, every moment surreal. Checkered flag whispers, a siren's call. Only one metalhead lies above it all. Turbocharged fury on straights we fly. Nitrous things pumping, we touch the sky.